Where it just jettisoned.
Hey there, this is the Small Stuff Podcast. My name is Kyle Roebuck. This is the intro. Let's start the show.
All right, this is part 2 of the nerdy podcast from, I don't know, a couple weeks ago or maybe last week. I don't know yet. Yeah, enjoy. And we're back. What were we talking about? Miles Morales?
We were talking about Miles Morales,
talking about
and then we were talking
Sony.
about Nightmare and
Then we started talking about that.
Yeah. Right.
Because
I'm
then we
not
also
predicting
Yeah.
that Miles Morales is replacing Peter Parker in the MCU. I'm just saying they have an avenue here.
they do.
It could be a thing.
How about this?
oh my God, they bring back Andrew Garfield.
Dwayne
That
The
won't
Rock
happen.
Johnson as Miles Morales.
Sold.
I would be dead as fuck.
In the same size suit that the normal one would wear.
I would see that.
He's
Everything
just little Spiderman gloves.
I'd pay for
Just
it.
OJ in it.
like everything that woke culture is like begging for, Miles Morales answers it, but he's so good that there's a good reason to describe that Miles Morales is better than Peter Parker in many ways. He's an amazing Spider-Man. Like, this is a legit avenue.
See,
that they
I
can
want to
go
see
down.
Tom Holland and Miles Morales side by side.
Well, see, I was going to
Because
ask.
they're
I was gonna ask
literally
this
at the
earlier.
perfect age where Tom Holland is like Peter Parker's like 16, 17. Miles Morales can be that 16 age because he didn't blip. And now you're going to have this he was mentored by Iron Man, but now they're kind of like working. And
What if-
Miles Morales is being mentored by the Prowler, and now they're kind of co-helping. In my head, it's beautiful.
We already know that the next person that is being ushered in by Iron Man is we've already got it established. Riri Williams is going to be in the next Black Panther. Mm-hmm. That's confirmed.
That's
Speaking
That's
of which-
Ironheart, right?
That's gonna
Yeah,
be
Ironheart.
interesting. That's gonna be interesting to watch. Black Panther.
Which I think will get a cameo from Robert Downey Jr. I don't think he'll be in the movie. I think there will be a small bit where there's a recording, a hologram of him.
Yeah.
I wonder
I
how
think
much.
we'll get a touch of him.
I wonder how they're gonna. I wonder if they're gonna dive into that.
And I think that
Because she's coming from Wakanda.
Wakanda technology. I don't think she'll come from
You don't
Wakanda.
think she'll be a part of Wakandan? Because
Remember they
I'm
started the
I
school?
wonder if
They
Chadwick.
started a school in America.
Yeah.
I think she'll be at the school.
Mm-hmm.
So I think she'll have a connection to Wakanda, but she'll be American.
How do you think they're gonna play off Chadwick Boseman's death?
I think
for-
he does.
You think he
Yeah,
passes during the time between movies?
I think to give honor to Chadwick.
They already said they're not recasting.
Yeah. But I'm trying to see like from a standpoint how they're gonna play on it.
In the comics, he dies.
Yeah.
But he dies way later after way many stories. So I think to keep the genuine feel of the story of Black Panther, they're going to continue with the story of Black Panther as they planned on it. I think they're just going to work in the fact
I think
that
Shuri should be Black
he-
Panther.
You think they'll CG his face on and then
No,
they
no,
literally already
no.
said
They've already said
we
they're
would
gonna
never
do
do
it.
that. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
They said
Because
they
that's gonna be
think-
interesting how they're gonna play that story then. Because like he was good and well after what was it Infinity War, like everything was rocking.
Yeah.
And then Sally, he passed away because of cancer. So now it's like they're coming with them coming out with a Black Panther 2. It's like how do you?
I have a theory.
Of course you do.
I think Thanos killed Black Panther with that punch. And they can do a whole
Oh yeah, that's a good way to roll it.
and they brought him back. I think a lot of people kind of. So if you pay attention to the way Infinity War ended,
I was gonna say with
He
Tony
locked-
snap, wouldn't that have fixed it?
think about it. Hulkbuster was locked in stone.
Uh huh.
Black Panther and Cap were knocked to a point where they looked dead. Like that punch looked like it could have killed him. And with a Power Stone, it should have killed them.
Yeah.
I don't care how powerful Cap is. A punch from a Power Stone,
It's like when he
should have
punches
been dead.
Captain Marvel when he puts the glove on. Bink.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Like there's all these reasons, all these things happened at the end of Infinity War, and then the snap happened. People dusted it away, all that, and like there was a moment there where it didn't make sense because Hulkbuster's walking around again
Yeah.
with hardly any damage to himself, Black Panther's there and he's dusting away, like he's in a different spot, or I can't even remember now. Like there was things that didn't really add up there, and every time Marvel, and I'm not saying this is one of those retcon things that we talked about last time. Marvel makes mistakes, fans call them out on it, and they're like, hold your ass real quick, we'll fix it. And then they explain it. Mm-hmm. So we've seen a lot of things where like, well, that didn't make sense because actually, blah, 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 blah. And then the next few movies down the road, we're like, oh, shit, it works.
They just retcon it like the comic books. I think they've gone far enough to
books
they've gone far enough to be accurate to the comic books in a way that we accept. That I think they can get away with retconning just like comic books do.
Well, it's like
comic books retcon like a bitch.
I love you so fucking much right now.
I was gonna say I keep going back to like Star Wars because the Star Wars did this too. Remember in the Last Jedi when Kylo Ren blows up the area of the ship where
Are you talking about the Princess Leia?
Leia was. Mm-hmm. She gets blown out of space, flies back in. The whole everybody outcries like, how does she do that? When did she ever train? And then the very next movie they gave the free will to like show Luke training Leia. Yep. Mm-hmm. So that's something they could easily do that.
Yeah, MCU does it much easier and in more of a free will base because every time they do it, it
works.
Pretty much,
it kind of almost sucks though that part of the movie has to be taken away to like fix something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and it's true with almost every universe. But MCU does it so much that there are instances. there are. Howard as War Machine. Yeah, like no explanation. He got darker. He lost his box top. He switched from comic book version of War Machine to a different version with a better actor that has his sanity to him.
Love Don Cheadle.
I do too. And honestly, I loved the original version that we saw of War Machine. I really did. But Jon Favreau, who does no wrong here, he said it was too hard to work with. He was supposed to be in the movie a lot more than he was, and he cut him out. And he went to Kevin Feige, who wasn't even fully in charge at the beginning. He was kind of in charge. He was in charge like proxy in charge, but he wasn't the head guy.
He was like executive producer or something, wasn't he?
Right, right. He didn't have last say, but he was in charge.
He had money in it or something,
At that point, he was pretty, like, he wasn't where he is now, but...
Jon Favreau went to him and said, I've got to cut him out of a lot, because a lot of this is shit. And the end product, I think, looks good. Like,
who was the first Warhammer? Is that what you're talking about? War Machine?
Howard.
Terrence Howard.
Terrence Howard, yeah. Mm-hmm. The guy that says 1 times 1 is 2.
What?
Yeah, no, he recreated math. Look it up. I won't go on a tangent, but look up
that guy.
Just Google if you're listening to this and you want another tangent. The guy on the left.
I didn't notice that switch. No.
Yeah. Well, you were.
Oh my God!
Well, he was
shit.
Okay,
so
you're the only person.
We were like, I mean, I noticed it, but I mean, I'm just thinking like we were young.
Yeah. Well, that's like I didn't.
Maybe he just doesn't remember it.
I didn't notice. I didn't notice the Crab and Goyle switch in Harry Potter. Did y'all see that?
The who?
Crab and Goyle.
Yeah.
They cut one out because he got busted for growing marijuana at his house.
I only noticed
Dumbledore was replaced.
Yeah.
Dumbledore was obvious.
I only noticed Crab and Goyle after me and Crystal watched all because she had never seen him.
Mm-hmm. So was War Machine.
We had never seen him, and we watched them back to back, and I was like, those are two different people. That was the only reason I noticed.
War Machine, yeah.
So, quick story about the War Machine thing. Terrence Howard signed on, and he was basically the second highest paid actor for the first movie, except Robert Downey Jr. tried out for the role, and Jon Favreau was like, this is it. This is Iron Man. This is Tony Stark. We've got to get RDJ. We got to have him. And Disney, well, Marvel, because it wasn't Disney yet, Marvel said, well, he's most famous not for his movies, but all the live feed of him walking through a jailhouse and courthouse with his hands behind his back. So I don't think that's a good look. And he was like, I'm telling y'all, it's the only way we can do it. If you're sold on me, you're sold on RDJ. And they're like, yeah, well, I don't feel it. And he kept on, and he spent months pushing the fact that Robert Downey Jr. had to be Iron Man. And then when other people that were there for the audition came forward and they're like, he stole the show. Like, he has to be Tony Stark. They're like, the only way we'll do this is if we put an insurance claim on him that will literally, he has to eat up. So if we pay him this amount of money, the insurance claim has to come out of him, because if he does any kind of drugs, if he does this, if he gets arrested, blah, 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 we're pulling all of it. And we have to have so much insurance that it pays for all the refilming to replace him.
Holy shit.
And that's so expensive that he ended up with like $150,000, which, hey, if you want to give me $150,000.
No, I think it was $500K was his total payout for the first movie.
I think that's after toys, after his straight up at front was way under that.
That's wild.
He probably made a lot of money off
It's
front,
probably like when this movie drops, this is how much money you will have made.
For what you filmed, this is what will pay you. That money was low.
Yeah.
And it was millions of dollars. But I think he saw like $150,000.
Yeah.
And I would have expected he got more than $500K from it, but it wasn't from the direct contract, I don't think, because the insurance ate almost the majority of it. I could be wrong.
I think it was because you know how like you pay an actor like, okay, I'm going to pay Jake $1 million to be in this film, but Jake still gets royalties off the film every time.
Do you, Jake?
And Jake also, when I sell action figures of Jake and all of this other stuff, Jake gets money. So it's probably like, oh, he made $150,000 from just being paid to star in this film.
Well,
and then royalties and toys and stuff.
I had looked it up how much he made, because if you look at the difference between the first Iron Man and then Endgame, how much the difference is, it's kind of cool. It's when you look up how much he made off Iron Man, it says $500K. And then how much he makes off Endgame is $50 million. So
it could be $500K.
Woo!
This is years ago that I'm remembering, but I feel like that is after the bonuses of whatever.
It was probably like what he got box office and everything, because they're able to calculate that now.
But regardless,
but I will say real quick before you keep going, I do like how Marvel does do a really good job hiring new people.
Yes,
to fill roles. Because you look at was it Chris Hemsworth and the guy who plays Loki? Those are brand new guys on the scene.
They had acting roles, but they weren't big. They elevated them. Even Chris Evans was a lot of failures, as if you look at him. Scarlett Johansson had Oscar-worthy roles in the Bill Murray movie or whatever, but it was indie roles.
Man, I just realized you're right about Chris Evans. Like he did Captain America, and then he did a shit ton of really good stuff. Didn't Snowpiercer come out after? Yeah,
after.
God, that's a good movie.
The only thing before was like Scott Pilgrim was the only like good film that he was in,
and Fantastic
indie.
And Fantastic Four.
Oh yeah,
that was a failure.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah. It was failures, and his accomplishments were on low pay movies.
So it's a big shout out to Marvel with their directors taking the time to bring these guys in, because they had that look.
Scarlett Johansson is like one of the ones that like she was award worthy. Like she was highly seen, and yet she hadn't been paid big. It was still her first big movie, if you really think about it. Black Widow was her first role where she's like, give me the money.
My biggest thing, too, shout out to those actors for signing on to that, like, 10-year contract, because you see so many people now who do, like, 2 movies and they're out.
Did you hear that Kevin Feige actually came out and said that he will there's no longer contracts. You will do a movie, and if you want to keep because he basically said, I don't want anybody to come out and be like, well, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. He's like, if you want to be a part of this movie and you want to be excited to do this movie.
That's Natalie Portman. That's Idris Elba. Yeah. He grabbed these established actors where he was
I
like,
love Idris Elba, by the way.
I do too.
Oh, my God.
I love Natalie Portman.
Yeah.
But they both complained for having to come back for roles because they were under contract when they had big paydays for individual movies. And they're like, dude, we've made it big. We can't come in for a role that's 3 minutes long. And Kevin Feige's like, no, you agreed to this. Like, we're going to do big things for you 4 years from now. Like, we've already given you a big payday. This just isn't it, but you still have to do this. That's the contract. And so many people argued it. I feel like that's the reason he's like, all right, from now on, if you don't want to be a part of it, don't be a part of it.
Yeah. Which is cool, because I was going off like the Ben Affleck thing with Batman. I thought he was great. He did 2 movies. He's like, I'm out.
Perfect.
It's like
best Bruce Wayne ever.
Yeah, it's like you did 2 movies. Like, what do you expect when you take on a role like that? You're only going to do a movie and you're leaving? I'm sorry. I
am excited I'm excited to see Robert Pattinson.
I am too.
Jesus Christ. This is going to go on for like another
hour.
Real quick. Sidetracked.
Yeah, real quick, because mine doesn't have much longer. Terrence Howard then came back for the second Iron Man and said, oh, I made more money than him the first movie, so however much of a raise you give him, I want the raise on top of that. And they're like, wait, you don't understand. You were the top paid one because insurance stole up his money. He was the top paid actor. It's just he lost it because of his drug use in the past, so it went to an insurance company. We're not paying you more for Iron Man 2 than Robert Downey Jr. He's like, oh, yes, you will. And Jon Favreau went to him and was like, real quick, I had to cut almost all of his scenes last time because they were horrible. What I included were good. We had some good scenes with him, but like 2/3 of his role, 2/3 of his scenes we had to cut. They were so bad because he wouldn't listen to me. I don't want him in the next movie. Can we replace him? And Kevin Feige's like, so he wants to get paid more than Robert Downey Jr. by this amount every single movie just because that's how it worked out for insurance reasons on the first one. And you don't like working with him? And Jon Favreau's like, yes. He's like, okay, he's done. Fuck him. Hey, Don Cheadle.
He got big because of the movie where they came A Heart Out Here for a Pimp.
Is that the name of it?
That's the song he came up with when he's in the house.
Yeah, that's the movie.
What's the movie?
Shit.
He's like,
It's
you
the
know
Pimp
it's
movie.
hard out
Yeah,
here
yeah.
for a pimp. Yeah.
Yeah.
Trying to make money for
Yep.
I want, and it's never going to happen, but I want a standalone Hulk film with Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah.
It will.
And it's a
That
shit.
would be good.
I don't
But-
think it will
I do.
because
It won't
Hulk
happen yet.
Hulk is not as big as Hulk
For
used to be
anybody-
we literally just talked about this earlier tonight. Well, last night. But we talked about how Hulk used to be fucking huge.
He was the third
Hustle
biggest.
Not in
No, he was the
size.
second biggest.
Josh,
For-
Hustle and Flow.
Hustle and flow, yep.
Looked it up.
Exactly. The Pit
But-
movie is how I call it.
Yep.
But now Iron Man is. But we were talking about earlier how
Iron
Hulk
Man-
used to be. Hulk
Yeah.
used to be. Hulk fucking in the 70s. Hulk had his own TV show. He was getting animated movies where it was him versus Wolverine.
In the 70s and 80s, they looked at it like this: Spider-Man #1, Hulk #2. Can anybody do what Spider-Man does? No. Can anybody does what Hulk does? No. But we got Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
And they ran with it because they're like, hey, we can sell it. Like, this is a realistic version, kind of like what we were talking about with Christopher Nolan's Batman. They're like, we can do a realistic version of Hulk where we have somebody turn into Lou Ferrigno because he's that impressive as a human being back in the 70s and 80s.
Well, I think like Robert Downey Jr. kind of made Iron Man one of the forefronts just because
Yeah.
the way
Yeah.
the way he did it. Like,
him and
Captain-
Jon Favreau is what made Iron Man the
Captain
forefront.
America is supposed to be the leader of the Avengers, but
But he was never number
it has
one in popularity.
never felt like that.
No.
In
Throughout
the
the
com-
movies.
It
in
was
the
in the 40s.
in the
Oh,
comics.
he was never like that. I thought he was supposed to be the leader.
No,
Oh,
it's supposed to be
You
this
mean the
fight
person that
between Iron Man and Cap.
You mean
No,
the
no,
person
no.
that gives inspirational speeches?
well, I'm
and
talking
feels
about
like the
he's
leader?
he's the guy that they take orders from.
Yes. No, he's the.
That's
he
what
wa-
I mean. Like
he
he was the head honcho of the Avengers.
He was, and
but
then
he
there's-
didn't feel like that throughout
There's
these
storylines in the
movies.
comics like Civil War or whatever where Iron Man's like, you're doing it wrong. I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
do this better. I'm so much smarter than you. I got more resources than you. Yeah, you've got this pumping through your veins, but you're doing it wrong. Iron Man was the person that came up in the comics and argued it
Yeah.
and debated it, but in the comics, yes. Cap was the Cap. He was the general. He was the, that floor presence of giving the speech, all that. But as far as popularity, he's never been #1 since like the 40s and 50s.
Yeah, that's what I was
It
saying. I was just jumping off of what Jake was saying, that Robert Downey Jr. did that. Like,
He did.
He made Iron Man.
Yep. Iron Man was
What he is now.
If you ranked popularity for the longest time now, since the
Even
80s, it was
still.
Spider-Man #1, it was Hulk #2, and then it changes around.
But
Cap
Iron Man would have never made the
#3.
top 10.
By the late 80s, it was Wolverine was the second most popular
Because
And
of the cartoon.
Since the Chris Claremont passing the torch to Jim Lee in the comics,
Oh,
that
okay.
stage, that's when Wolverine took over the mantle. He got so popular, and all through the 90s, Marvel's most profitable entity was X-Men.
Because of the cartoon.
Not entirely.
They made the
The
cartoon
comics were
because-
phenomenal, though.
Yeah, I'm
in
sure,
the
but-
90s, in the
They didn't
90s
have-
X-Men hit a fucking stride like no other.
Yeah, they didn't have the money to make anything in the 90s except for because of the sales from X-Men in the late 80s. The cartoon from X-Men started in 92. The reason it got the first, the Spider-Man cartoon started right after that. The Iron Man cartoon started right after that. All these things came because X-Men kept paving the way.
And that's how Fox came to own X-Men too, was because when Marvel, the comics, started going under, no one asked for Spider-Man first. They asked for X-Men first because right after the 90s, that's why we have those early 2000s X-Men films, is because...
Which are amazing, by the way.
That's
the
all,
yes.
that's
first
all
one at
anybody
least.
wanted.
The first and second one are good. The third one...
The second one's one of the greatest
yeah. Because
comic book
and do you know
movies
who also produced those? Fucking Kevin Feige.
Okay.
Go back to our last episode. I mentioned
And Kevin Feige, yeah, he made his mistakes, but he finally learned. But
It was
regardless
ups,
of
downs,
that,
up, downs.
yeah.
He learned what to do right. He learned what to do wrong with X-Men.
But Fox literally in the late 90s was like, hey, Marvel, I see that you're going bankrupt. I'll buy the X-Men from you. And Stan Lee was like, it's hard for me to part with that. And Fox is like, well, we'll basically try to save you from bankruptcy. And Stan Lee's like, I don't want to go under. Like, I built this from the ground up.
And
Was Stan Lee running Marvel?
Yes.
Stan Lee, yeah.
He was Marvel.
Honestly,
He
I
was
never
Marvel
knew
for
that.
decades.
I never knew
from
that.
the 60s?
I knew that he created a shit ton of the characters.
From the 60s through the... So he started as a mail clerk,
Right.
basically, for Timely Comics that then became Atlas Comics. And then when he finally took over in the 60s, they became Marvel Comics. But they had been called Marvel since the 40s?
I think it was
late 30s,
it was
early
early
40s.
50s.
Maybe. I can't remember when they made the switch. But it's the same company.
I thought he was still a writer in the 60s. When
It was basically a DBA. They were doing business as Marvel.
was
because he had to go to somebody to get
He was
Spider-Man
still
approved.
writing, but he wasn't.
He had to go to somebody to get Spider-Man approved, and they turned him down because they didn't like the idea of it being a
That's
bug.
the early 60s.
Yeah.
And then and then what I'm saying is he had to go to somebody. Said who was in charge then? That's what I was wondering.
He was in charge of everything except for the money decision making.
He just I thought you meant he was
the head
like
writer.
he was
So
like
was he like
head
you could say
honcho.
he was like the CFO,
Yeah.
not the CEO.
He was the
But
head
he
writer.
ended up being the guy.
Yeah, okay.
He was the
I
guy.
was just
for, like-
confused on the timeline.
and then
he
he
was the
became the
guy.
person to try to save Marvel. Like
He was the guy when Spider-Man got approved and it blew up.
Yeah. When he took over, it blew up, and he dominated DC. For
Him
a while,
and Jack Kirby.
DC was considered the standard, and Marvel just crushed them for a while. And
because
that's what
Detective
gave Stan Lee
Comics
the
were
name.
outselling Marvel for a while.
Yeah. But at that point, DC had decided, let's go with more of a detective look at it. Let's go with real humans. Let's go with detective stories. We'll throw a Batman in there. We'll throw a Superman in there, but they're just not selling like they used to. So they were trying to become more real world, and it didn't sell.
Yeah.
And Stan Lee went the opposite approach. He was like, I'm going to go the most fantastic ever. And he created Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, X-Men within years.
Him and Jack. I feel like you got to throw Jack Kirby in there because like he. And even Stan Lee would have given credit to Jack Kirby because Jack Kirby fucking
A lot of people hate Stan Lee because for a long time he was like, I created these characters, and they're like, you and Jack Kirby created them.
Steve Ditko.
Like, no, Steve Ditko for Spider-Man.
Right. That's I just want to make sure we weren't leaving him out. I knew he was
Hugely
Spider-Man.
important.
Yeah.
But he stepped in for Spider-Man. He also went to DC for this. He went to
Jack Kirby was part of Marvel, and he created created these fucking characters, and Stan Lee
Stan Lee would go to him saying, hey, I got this idea for a story. It's got 4 people, a husband and wife, a bodyguard, a brother. They're going to go outer space. Something's going to happen to them, and they're going to come back with these fantastic powers. I want to call them the Fantastic Four. And Jack Kirby like, all right, give me 2 weeks. And he'd come back, and he would draw them out. It's like, all right, I think he would have logos for him. He would have all this developed.
Jack Kirby's why we have Galactus, because Jack Kirby literally was like, they found out that
Still
the
Stanley's
whole
idea.
Yeah,
He went to him and said, hey,
we want a hero. We want a villain that is not like a thug or a thug or a robber or whatever. We want something that is ultimate, something that's a
he
pinnacle.
said he wanted something that felt like a god without.
He didn't. He never said anything about a
without
god.
stepping on the feet of any religion.
So how I understand it is Stan Lee never said anything about a god. Jack Kirby found out that he needed to go and create a character that was not these everyday regular people. So Jack Kirby went and turned to the Bible and
Yes.
looked at the Bible,
Okay,
and
yes,
that's
yes.
where the God concept came from. Was
That's a better
this
explanation.
is a greater, this is an immovable force basically that looks upon me and
No, that
me and
is a
Josh
better-
arguing is phenomenal because we both think we're both right, and
That is
one
a
of us
better-
will be
so
proved wrong.
deep into this. Like, I'm just like,
My favorite is when you hear how they came up with characters. That's my favorite part.
But
When people
so-
come up with them. It's like the have y'all heard about Darth Maul? How they came up with Darth Maul?
No.
They literally
I
went
feel
to
like I know this.
the George Lucas went to his artist, goes, "Hey, draw me your worst nightmare." And he said that the stuff the guy came back with was so terrible. He goes, "All right, tone it down a little bit." And then Darth Maul. Anyway, I thought that was
I
Makes
didn't know
sense.
that.
The race that Darth Maul is from is actually in the Star Wars game, The Fallen Order.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
get to meet them, you get to go to the planet. But besides that,
Anyway.
Jack Kirby came up with this, like, what if God was a character, basically? And what if there's just this character that was godlike, that was unkillable, basically, that basically saw us as ants, and that's where Galactus came from.
I guess a better way I should have said it was Stanley didn't go to him and say, find a different version of a god. He said, we can no longer, based on marketing and what people's reactions were, Stanley gave him a picture of, hey, we can't have a street level villain. We need something cosmic. We need something above, blah, blah, blah. And that's why I just...
That's why I felt like I needed corrected
I just
you
scrunched it
because
down.
of the fact that
Yeah.
God,
You're right, but
Jack Kirby,
Scary. Fuck that.
and I think that's...
I've actually
I think
seen
it's
that and forgot I had seen it. Yeah.
because I don't even remember Jack Kirby was a religious person. I think just the Bible intrigued him. I can't.
The Bible's
confirm-
intrigued a lot of
Oh, yeah,
really
yeah.
great
Yeah,
stories.
yeah.
Like that's like the base of Lord of the Rings. So he got a lot off
feel
that.
like-
Chronicles
like
of
we're-
Narnia too.
And I mean, the
Chronicles of
Bible's
Narnia.
based off of so many things.
I feel like we're about to get a taste
Yeah.
of. I don't even want to say Christianity because it's not even against or for Christianity because every ancient culture had this, but like the flood, everything,
Yeah.
like all those religions already had it. It wasn't a Christian religious thing. It was a cultural thing. Every culture talked about it.
Most
back then.
likely because the ice
And-
caps were melting, and all these people were like, "Holy shit, a great flood!" And really, it was just their region was flooding, and they were like, "I don't know what to do." And when your whole world is literally 100-mile radius, you're gonna think that the whole world is flooding.
Someone
I mean-
write this down.
We've already found like where Native Americans talked about the flood. Like everybody talked
Everybody talked about
the
the flood.
and they
Most
didn't
likely,
even
the
know
ice
about-
caps melting from
yeah.
the Great Ice Age
Exactly,
that happened. The last Great Ice Age.
Yeah, we had meteors that hit Iceland, and that lined up with the end of the Ice Age, so it all just melted really fast. That's why the Great Lake, the Finger Lakes were created. That rush of flood.
Oh,
created the
yeah.
Finger
That's
Lakes.
like a whole nother-
science with Joshua.
Me and Josh will sit.
It's time for science.
Me and
with
Josh will sit and
Josh.
talk for 2 or 3 hours just about like science shit
We've
in
noticed
general.
we're at 2.5.
But
There's one employee
But
at
wait, there's more.
Stumpy's who didn't know we talked about anything else except for black holes for about 3 weeks of her employment. Because every time she came in, me and Josh would talk about black holes, and she's like, "Do y'all talk about anything else?"
Speaking of which, wasn't Stephen Hawking's theory just like proved?
Kind of like it wasn't proved because no science theory
Yeah.
is proved, but it was heavily supported recently.
Yeah.
when we saw light come out the back end of a black hole.
Yeah, they saw the backside.
just like gravity hasn't been proved yet.
Yeah.
Evolution
Yeah.
hasn't been proved yet.
Wait, yes, it has. Gravity is a law.
Science. No,
It's
it's,
theory.
a
Still a
theory.
theory. There's no
theory.
such thing
I
as
thought it
There's
was
no
the law
such
of
thing as
gravity.
proven.
No.
People just have the word theory wrong in science.
Yeah.
No, I
In
know I know what
science.
theory
Okay.
means. I'm
Gravity's
saying
a
like
theory.
when it's proven, it becomes a law.
No.
No theory
No.
is proven. You can't prove a theory to be right.
That's
you
what
just a theory is supported. Gravity is a
they
supported
did what-
theory.
To prove a theory,
They call it Newton's first law because that's what he called it when he was writing everything down, wasn't he?
it becomes a law when you have a mathematical equation that doesn't change in any circumstance and doesn't have anything that relates to it still in question. In
Oh, okay.
gravity,
Oh, that's like free falling.
in gravity, we know how it affects us in our atmosphere.
I
So
mean,
it can
even when you're
basi-
free falling, gravity still does the same thing mathematically.
It still does the same thing.
Yeah, yes.
Because what
But
is
we
it?
don't know what happens in a black hole.
in our atmosphere, But if you go in outer space, gravity reacts differently.
Could you imagine explaining gravity to somebody who didn't know what gravity was? It sounds crazy because it's like, hey, so there's this invisible force that basically pushes you against this planet. And people will be like, so what is it? We don't know what it is. It's just...
We call it gravity.
Gravity still works the same in outer space. You're just not near anything to pull you.
Correct.
It's still the same thing. So
correct. But even when you were... how old are you? 28?
7.
27.
I'm 7.
7. All right.
7 years old.
20-some years before you, in the 90s, they figured out that gravity wasn't caused because of a particle called a
Gravitron? It's a gravitron.
They realized it wasn't a particle called a gravitron pulling you. It was a wave pulling you. And then they had... So, like, they're still figuring out why... They can tell you exactly the amount of force that gravity pulls you if they know the size of the object pulling you, Earth. They know the atmosphere you're in, Earth. They can tell you, and it would be like a law for how gravity would work.
Basically a scale, that tells you.
But because they don't know the ins and outs of what's causing it, it's a theory.
Yeah.
So even though it can be mathematical, evolution is a fact, but it's still a theory. Gravity is a fact, but it's a theory. Scientifically, it's still a theory because we don't have every in and out figured out.
It's sort of like you kind of... What would be a good example?
We can say the weight of the sun pulls this amount of gravity. The weight of Earth pulls this amount of gravity. But until we prove, like if you set a bowling ball on a mattress, the way it pulls in, and if you throw a ball, it circles around it, we know that's what's happening with gravity. We know that's what's happening.
We just don't know what's causing it.
But we haven't proved what the mattress is. We don't know the mattress in that equation. What is the mattress?
That's Einstein shit, right? Relativity.
That's the biggest part of it.
Theory of relativity.
He built on other people's, but his was the most defined. Yeah.
Because there's so many things that if there's at least one element that we can't prove, it's a theory.
If you can't say
if we can't say definitively what something is,
we know
it's going to be a theory.
We know the bowling ball. If we can't fully explain the mattress, then it's still a theory. But our math works perfectly. We can mathematically prove gravity.
I hate math.
But if you put water, honey, and something else in here, and I drink it, and I can tell you that there's water and honey, but I can't tell you what the other thing is, I just have a theory about what this water has in it. Until I can definitively tell you this water also has sugar in it and honey and water, I can't definitively say that for fact is water, honey, and sugar until I can prove that all three of those is in it. Until then, it's just a theory.
We wouldn't even call the third element in there a theory until we know how it reacts to everything.
Yep.
So a theory isn't just like,
before that, it's a hypothesis.
Right. Yeah. So what he just described was more like a hypothesis. But once you can say, well, this element that's in it does this, 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 and this, and we can trace it every which way, that's a theory because we still don't know everything about it.
How the fuck did we get here?
Like,
how did the fuck did we get here?
How did the fuck did we get here? That's what I said, Bryton.
Anyway, so how about that Spider-Man trailer? How about that?
It was good.
That was good.
Oh, it was so fucking good.
It
was everything that I wanted it to be.
I hated everything about it, and I loved everything about it.
Oh, we were talking about Galactus, and then we were talking about
I had one thing I was going to say that we got on that tangent. Okay. Disney messed us up. Hold on.
Where I was going.
Disney messed us up.
I don't like that you pointed at your nipples as you said. I know where that was going.
Disney messed us up with Star Wars. We didn't get the big three on the same scene. If Toby and whatever his other name is in this movie, Andrew Garfield, are we going to get all three of them in the same shot?
Yes.
If they show up, yeah.
If they show up,
it's gonna be a big hero moment. It's gonna be like them stepping up out of a crater.
Disney wants to orgasm all the nerds in the theater at that one moment.
Tom Holland is gonna get knocked into a crater by one of the bad guys, and we're gonna think he's dead, and then he's gonna slowly start coming up. But then we're gonna see like these two guys who happen to look kind of like they're in Spider-Man outfits, but they're covered in dust and stuff, and they're gonna be helping him up, and they're gonna pat him on the back, and they're gonna go.
Spoilers in case Kyle's right.
Just move in real slow with a wide.
Turns out that Kyle actually worked on this film and told none of us.
How epic.
Right.
So that's where you were.
If you guys remember from last episode, me and Kevo talked a little bit.
How crazy would that be though? you're in the movie theater and you're watching it. It gets to that point, and all of a sudden you see all three of them on scene. In this,
If I saw that exact scene,
not the exact scene, I'm just saying
I would be like, Kyle worked with them,
way
and
to do that scene.
why the fuck are we still filming?
That's how they do every other like hero reveal scene.
My thing is, I wonder when so let's say we're hypothetically speaking now that all three are going to be in the movie. Bang, we've got it. We've got our evil 6 people. Boom, we've got it.
Sinister 6.
When do
Evil 6 people has a better ring to it.
yeah. When do you introduce all three at the same time? Because we've obviously from the trailer you've got the part where you see the pumpkin bomb, and then you've also got the part where Doc Ock comes out and says, "Hello, Peter." Like, hi, right? It's like, so
I don't know why you made him sound like that.
Tasty.
So are they together then, or do you think? Because let's say this is how it's working. So obviously they mess something up with the space-time continuum. We got the multiverse coming in. Boom, you start getting all these villains from all these different, Spider-Man universes or Spider-Verse coming in, right? Does that mean that you got Toby and I already forgot his name again?
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. There we go. They just pop in as well. So do you think it's going to be a really cool scene where they just show up?
I think it's sequential. I think you got this like 30-minute action scene where every 3 or 4 minutes something else happens. Another villain. All of a sudden, another Spider-Man. And it'll
so
be
you
Toby
can see
first.
it. So you can see it building up, right? Where like all 6 show up. It's literally just Tom Holland by
I'm
himself.
only saying this because
It's got to be all three coming out of a crater. I'm telling you.
But
that's the best way.
That sounds. See, but that also sounds too cliche to like how you would expect it to go. Like you got to build up.
That's how they
Why
do
coming
it.
out of a crater?
They did this.
I'm not saying no. I'm not
That's
talking.
how those scenes play out in my head.
That's how Doc Ock plays out coming up on a bridge because he fell off the bridge.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
But what I'm saying is like not the crater scene, but like all 6 villains. Boom, Tom Holland's all by himself. All hope is lost. All of a sudden, it's okay. We're here.
Jake just said. All right, so everything you were talking about, Kyle, I agree with you, except not what you're talking about. It's going to be this way instead.
No,
but
I
agree with you.
I get it. It's like, but what I'm saying is
they would do it the same way they did Captain America with the. They
do you know how many nerds would get a hard on as soon as they see a hand touch Tom Holland's shoulder? They'd be like,
everyone's getting a hard on as soon as they just hear like either Toby or Andrew's voice. They're like,
here's my thing. I think everybody coming out of here.
I'm sorry,
villains.
Mom. I feel like I should apologize to my mother for how
hey, you're fine.
How many times I've said hard on in one video.
You said hard on.
Well, I'm gonna get a good old fashioned when I see
shaken or stirred.
Never shaken. That's for bitches. James Bond was a bitch. James Bond was a bitch. You don't shake the ice. That's how you water something down.
True. Anyway,
so I go back to the point I made in episode 1.
Yeah.
My point is,
this is really a third part. Technically,
it's
just a continuation.
There's no way Alfred Molina comes out, sees Tom Holland's like, "Hello, Peter. I haven't aged a day."
Why do you keep
years.
giving him an English accent?
He does. He's
not
like,
English.
Hey, he's showing you the character.
He goes.
Hello,
Peter. Hello, Peter.
Like no, it does not.
It
it's
does
not like
not
do that.
It's not like that. It's a normal accent.
Between these two,
it's a normal accent.
It's not the fucking accent, and it's not just plain "Hello, Peter."
Yes,
it's
like,
"Hello."
I am
Peter.
exaggerating.
I think
it is not like that.
Peter.
I think that's a good grab on the trailer, though. Literally, is him coming out and saying "Hello, Peter."
Yeah.
Why the fuck would he know who Tom Holland is?
That's what we were saying earlier.
But knowing it doesn't make sense.
And he
has to see Tobey Maguire,
which gives me my theory that if they're all aware of the multiverse, they're all coming out of the Spider-Verse. Mm-hmm. They all get what's going on.
That's what I was going to say.
Tom Holland's the one that's out of the loop.
Yeah.
I think that the Spider-Verse is happening in the other multiverses that we are now going to, for this movie, call the Spider-Verse, but it's multiverse. They're coming out of here knowing, which I think means that Toby, Andrew, all of them are going to come back, and they're not going to look at him like, "Who the fuck are you?" at Tom Holland. Mm-hmm. They're going to already know. They're going to understand the Spider-Verse.
What are you looking at?
I was going to do some digging to see what little Toby's been doing, but apparently he doesn't have social media. But
since he cussed out that person on the street.
Probably, yeah. Well, his last fan page social media post was January 14th. Our boy could be been doing some filming.
And and obviously this
What about
this
Garfield?
isn't possible. But Andrew Garfield and Tom Holland were both on Alive and said that Andrew Garfield is not in Spider-Man. But we also were told that Kang was not in Loki, and he fucking was.
Okay.
And
Have y'all seen
Cox-
what Andrew Garfield
Cox said
posted?
that
What?
since when?
He posted on August 3rd, he posted this. It said, how awesome would this be? Rate 1 to 10 down below. Okay.
Whoa.
There'll be a
Wait,
picture
no,
of this.
wait,
There'll be a picture of this on
whoa.
the Instagram.
Wait.
Holy shit.
Oh.
Wait, is that Hugh Jackman?
Yeah.
That's Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, so this will be shared on the Small
I
Stuff
just got
Podcast
chills.
Instagram
Yeah.
as soon as this video goes up or some shit, some
Yeah.
audio.
I don't
Send
see
that
Hugh
to
Jackman
send
coming.
that to Bryton.
I don't see Hugh Jackman coming for damn sure.
Here's my thing.
maybe
even know if you follow me.
I don't think I do.
another
What is it?
recast
E-R-Y.
Wolverine
Oh yeah,
since it's multiverse.
T-O-N.
I don't see him for this.
Oh, there it is.
It's the wrong time to use him. There's a formula for overexposure. You can't give but so many things in a movie before you lose the feel of any individual.
Like
one.
Spider-Man 3.
Yeah,
Dude,
Yeah.
Andrew
and
Garfield.
they're pushing it with this one. But I think
July 9th. I'm sorry. He's
What?
saying, will you love to see this in the future?
yeah, but that didn't happen.
Is he just-
That's
I know.
Photoshop.
Is he just trolling?
But
Yes.
still, it's like,
Yeah,
could that be his way of building up hype?
What a dick.
I think it's reverse buildup of
I
hype.
think
Like,
I
Yo.
think he's dicking with people.
I think it's happening, and he's giving fake ish.
Here's
fake
another one
versions of
saying,
it.
will
The
you love
one
to
with
see
Hugh
this
Jackman
movie? Look at
throws
this
me,
one.
though,
Look at that movie
'cause-
poster.
I would love to see Emma Stone as Spider-Gwen. I'm not going to lie because
Oh, I think
I
she'll be
would
back,
fuck
too.
the shit out of Emma Stone.
okay.
But I would leave my wife, and she's fully aware of this, and go marry Emma Stone.
Wow.
And she's fine with that. I would just have to hook her up with another celebrity, but we're cool with that. We have this worked out in our
I'm trying to
details.
tune that out, but I can't. I'm just like,
But as much as I would love to see Emma Stone as Spider-Gwen, I feel like it's all a misdirect. And that's why I stand by the fact that
Sony said
Here's
that
it was Tom
Sony.
Holland's Endgame.
hear me out though.
But you are right. Sony has said that it's Tom Holland's
They
Endgame.
planned this
And
pre-pandemic.
if it's Tom Holland's Endgame, we're
Bring
going to
everybody
see
out.
we're going to see fucking everybody.
Yep.
And there hasn't been that many people. I think we'll see Venom. I think we will.
Really?
I think we'll see
You think,
Venom.
you think we're getting Tom
Hot
Hardy
take.
Venom?
I think we're getting Tom Hardy Venom.
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, what I was saying
Yeah.
earlier, when you watch the trailer again, where the little taxi and the little like warp thing behind him, people are speculating that that's actually Venom. He's going over there.
Sorry, Bryton.
I don't see
We got another
I
one.
need to look again because
All right.
I
So
haven't
we're
seen
going to
that.
rewatch the trailer for the second time.
just scroll it back. Real
Just
quick.
I will say these
Hold on.
things though.
So it's right.
so you're going
did
to talk
you-
during this?
yeah, we'll just talk there.
Okay, all right.
You can
Well,
cut it
it's
if you
gonna
want to.
play
I don't
audio.
care. I don't
All right,
care.
well we'll what did you have to say and then we'll watch this.
All right, so we already know that J.K. Simmons has been showing up at the Morbius filming.
Mm-hmm.
We also know that, what's her name? What was the original MJ? She's popular.
Kirsten Dunst.
Kirsten Dunst has been shown right outside of set, like leaving a coffee shop or something, but right outside of where they were filming. With
She was with the
the
paralegal
second-
from
exactly,
from
from
Daredevil.
Daredevil.
Yeah.
So
I don't know her name, but
I think we're getting Daredevil. I'm thinking we're getting that girl, Jessica something. Not Jessica Jones. That was a different Netflix, but wasn't it Jessica?
I don't know.
The
Which one?
paralegal from.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was
yeah.
Jessica or not, but
The
it is the
redhead.
paralegal. Yeah.
She was with Kirsten Dunst right outside of where they were filming. Like, all these things keep happening.
I'm
I
just-
really do think they're dumping every bit of Spider-Man they can.
Because the interesting thing is, I think Doctor Strange is the Iron Man of this upcoming season, but Spider-Man is the Iron Man of the next Avengers. And I think that's what's important to note, is that this is going to be Tom Holland's.
I disagree.
Here's
Do you
another,
not
X-Men
think-
here's
does-
another
X-
Do you
angle.
think with Young Avengers coming up, with all that they've set up for Young Avengers, that we're not going to have Tom Holland, the literal fucking teenager Spider-Man, who could easily play the leader of the Young Avengers? Because
That
I
would-
doubt we're going to get fucking Iron Lad.
I'd 100% agree with you if I could see the fucking contract with Sony. They're going to spend too much money giving money to Sony.
Here's my thing too, though. You ready? This is a different angle to take on it. This is starting the second wave. What is it? Was it
This is
Phase
like
4?
Phase 4? Yeah, that's what I made Phase 4. Because Phase 1 through 3 is the original group, right?
Infinity.
Yeah.
So Phase
Infinity
4, you're
saga.
starting off the new saga. What better way than make a badass Spider-Man movie that has fucking everybody?
I agree.
It gets
Except
everybody- hear me out.
Sony's getting in all this money.
Because hear me out. Like, what I'm saying is, like, as soon as Phase 3 was done, I almost lost interest, right? Because I grew up with Iron Man.
What's
going to
happen
America,
now? Like, what
Hulk.
can you possibly
I
do
hear
now?
Now that you're taking all them out, it's like, well, I don't really care about who's left. Doctor Strange, I just found out who the fuck he was when that movie came out. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest. Now,
Hurt my heart a little
but
bit.
I'm just saying, like, I didn't grow up in the
loving
comic
Doctor
book world.
Strange.
All right, I didn't grow up in that world.
That
So
hurt me,
look,
man.
so now it's like, how do you get people back interested in your continued?
Spider-Man's the answer.
Yeah.
Except they don't own Spider-Man.
But I'm pretty sure
Yet.
if a Disney executive and a Sony executive got together, sat down, and came up with this movie where they bring everybody the fuck in it, both of them shook hands and left the meeting.
I hope you're right. I hope both of you are right.
Because how else? Because here's what I'm saying. How else would
I
you
just
get?
hope business takes precedent.
Yeah.
over-
How else would you get the fans? Which ultimately, how do these movies make money? You get people to go to box office. You get people to watch your shit. How are you going to get people back invested in Phase 4 of Marvel with all these new characters that are just introduced that no one really has anything with?
Story-wise, you're right.
Yeah. So I'm
Story-wise,
thinking.
I'm
They
business,
do
man.
this. They go all out with this first movie. They're going to get everybody
Sony-
back interested in it. And it's going to be like,
Sony's making Doctor Strange their next big one because they don't own Spider-Man.
I don't
right now.
know.
What'd you say, Bryton?
I think we're gonna have a Morbius cameo as well.
That'd be sick.
If this is going to be,
Is that still dropping? Jared Leto as Morbius?
yes, 2022.
If
But
they do that,
that
I
feels
don't
like
Sony
think
better
it's going to
giving
be.
money to Disney.
I don't think it's going to be Morbius. I think it's
Wait, no,
like
never mind.
I don't think it's going to be him, Vampire Morbius. I think it's going to be regular Morbius, like that fucking dude. I can't remember
Tom
what.
Hardy has also been on the scene of Morbius.
Yeah, I think Morbius and Tom Hardy will be in this. Maybe not as Venom and Morbius, Vampire King of the Night,
but
whatever.
kind of just there.
But I think they'll be like
The scientist Morbius.
I think the scientist Morbius. I think they'll be extras, like
Yeah,
not extras.
They're in the background.
But
Yeah, I can see
I think
that.
it's gonna be, or there's gonna be reference to them because I think if, like it said, this is going to be Spider-Man's Endgame.
Yeah.
Because I also feel like this may. I'm 50-50 right now. Either Tom Holland will become the new face of Young Avengers and move on and create this whole team,
He's too big
or
for that team.
this is the end of the Sony Disney.
Could be.
I think Disney shook hands with a Sony executive, and either they've worked out a deal where Spider-Man can be in it for the rest of this whatever, or Disney and Sony, this is their last film together.
Spider-Man, Peter Parker, too big for Young Avengers other than a intro role.
You think he's too big for Young Avengers?
Yes.
Young Avengers is so fucking amazing, and I think it would be.
I agree.
Before you roll this, we're gonna roll the clip.
All right,
I was just gonna let him keep going.
All right, we'll get back to this.
We're back.
Okay.
Back at y'all.
So that's gonna
Just rewatch the trailer for the third time.
They've definitely got that cut up to throw you off in
Oh, for
multiple
sure.
places.
Every
I think
which way.
I think shots are.
With Doctor
Yeah,
Strange, with the villains, with his appearances landing, everything.
I'll tell you. I'm wondering
It's a
if
great trailer.
that
It's
shot.
tells
probably
us-
one of the best trailers I've seen
Yeah.
come
But
out
it
of.
tells us everything in reverse.
Yeah.
Like, it's not telling us anything, and yet it tells us a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those weird situations.
I wonder if the scenes
It's
we see.
misselling.
I think we'll see the whole clusterfuck of the multiverse, the whole Doc Ock coming up over the bridge, the whole Green Goblin. I bet that's all happening in the universe that we know Peter's in, the main MCU.
Yeah.
I think that's all shit that is now happening after the fact. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so I think he goes through the multiverse, starts fucking with shit because he doesn't know what's happening. You get to see Feast, which is really cool, which is
Yeah.
like a really big thing in the Spider-Man universe to begin
Get to
with.
see what?
Feast, Feast, that's ran by Mr. Negative. Well, started by Mr. Negative, which is another character that we could see, and the Feast could be hinting towards Mr. Negative.
That's a lot. That's a lot of people.
It is, but actually, in the Sinister 60, Mr. Negative is one of them. Mr. Negative, Venom, Lizard,
haven't thought about this.
Yeah, so Lizard, Electro, Doc Ock, Green Goblin. So all of the characters we see could be that is the Sinister Six. It could be more alluding to this idea of, I don't think Sandman's going to be one of them. I don't think Venom's going to be one of them. I think Sandman. I think we might hear about Tom Hardy or see him, but I think the main 6 that are going to pull up in this video are Sandman, Mr. Negative, Lizard. I always fuck his name up, but the Lizard Man, whatever the fuck his name is.
It's Lizard.
Yeah.
Is it really just fucking Lizard?
It's just Lizard, yeah.
Lizard.
That I thought it was like Dr. Lizard or some like
Lizard.
Lizard with a PhD, you know,
He
some
was
bullshit.
a scientist, a doctor.
Yeah, I know.
No, just
but his
Lizard.
name was always just Lizard?
Yeah,
I
Lizard.
feel so fucking cheated with that.
Not even
Green
the-
Goblin and Doc Ock.
I wonder.
so-
I wonder how they're going to play off bringing Doc Ock and Green Goblin back.
What do you mean?
I mean,
Because
all right, so
they're
we know
dead.
they're-
Let's be
No, they're not. That's
but
what
that's what the actor
that's
said.
what Alfred Molina said. Is the way that this is working is they're getting yanked from their timeline
like as soon
right-
as they die.
Right as they're
right
about
before
to die.
they die. Yeah. So Green Goblin is yanked right before like that part.
Like as soon as the glider's going over Tobey Maguire's head, he's like gone and it just hits a wall. That's what it's
what they're
basically
saying.
saying.
So if that happens, do you think that's
and
you
Doc-
think
in this Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
And Doc
That's
Ock
the whole
is,
point.
Yeah.
is in the river.
We see
and that's
them
why he's
die.
coming up out of the bridge.
Like, we see them die.
yeah.
In this timeline, they do die. Like, there was nothing.
These separate timelines.
You could say that Electro didn't die because the amount of electromagnetic energy sent him to another multiverse. Like, you can explain some of these things away.
Well, there could be another timeline where Alfred Molina is Doc Ock.
This all messes me after watching Loki because you hear all the.
It's so confusing.
That's the point.
that's the
The
point.
whole phase. The whole point is to confuse the shit out of you.
which they're
That's
gonna
this
they're
phase.
gonna do really well.
They're gonna
'Cause
do
again,
so well.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that wherever
I
they
hope
yank,
they do well because wibbly wobbly, timey wimey bullshit like this
Yeah.
can go one of two ways. You can fuck it the hell up, or
Yeah.
you can
Because they're messing
really
with a lot
be
of continuity
masterful.
now.
Well,
But-
they already messed with it because they're brought up in Loki. They were like, so everything the Avengers did was okay. Now all of a sudden Loki picks up the Tesseract that fell at his feet, and it's like, oh no, next event.
We see that the MCU is handling this well. And we've seen from past experience that they handle all of the big things well.
I think they've handled everything well up until this point because now we're getting into the multiverse where there's a lot of shit going on.
and it could be their point. The whole one thing that could be a good point, a good moment. So think of, I guess DC would be a good example.
oh.
DC's, which I'll never use as a good example, but you know what DC has done successfully?
Batman movies.
Not in
Yeah,
DC.
but the Joker film, phenomenal. This new Batman film that's coming up, phenomenal looking.
Should be, yeah.
Suicide Squad, the different one
yeah.
that's not technically connected, but I'm just saying their standalone films have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
What if this is Marvel's chance to start getting to this point of now we can make a film that's a standalone film about some random motherfucker, but it's about
that's what they did with Guardians of the Galaxy.
it,
Nobody
it's
knew who they were.
But I'm saying like, okay,
did.
so comic readers knew who they were, and actually, it's a really fucked up story. Peter Quill actually uses Mantis to trick the Guardians to become part of the team in the original comics, and it's really fucking horrible, and I hate it. I prefer the MCU
The
version.
MCU did
Yeah,
Guardians better.
MCU did it
Yeah.
better because I think
It
it's
was
such
a good story.
sick.
It was
yeah,
a good story. It had bad parts. They got rid of the bad parts.
it's
and they
such a
rewrote
sick
it.
and twisted way that
Yeah.
Peter Quill uses Mantis to
Rocket
basically,
Raccoon and Groot, phenomenal in the comics.
especially their designs.
Well, still back with this.
Anyway, but
Yeah, it's like the multiverse is a good story. Like I get it, like it's a great story and all that. But it's like is the MCU going to be able to actually tell it in movie format?
yes.
In a like
I'm
in a
only-
way that like isn't going to have people sitting there like I have to watch this 12 times just to
Yes.
understand it.
Yes.
Personally I'm worried about it because as soon as I saw like the multiverse happening at the end of Loki, it's like there's a lot of shit going on where you're going to be like I don't know if this is the real Spider-Man or not.
The multiverse has always existed. I don't think that Loki's timeline, the whole point of the sacred timeline, we actually talked about this last time. The sacred timeline, there's no real sacred timeline. The whole thing is what it seems like is Kang defeated everybody on this timeline.
Yeah.
All the other Kangs. But The whole
his
point is there's no other
egotistical-
multiverse. It was an egotistical thing of saying, well, I defeated all of the ones on my timeline and became the only Kang on this timeline.
Yeah, saying
but
that
there's
a
still
timeline is sacred, just listen to the wordage, the verbiage. Saying that something is sacred, you're saying that this is the right way. There's no other way that's right.
Yeah.
They're all right. They're all supposed to be happening. These are all things in a sphere, in a prism that's supposed to be happening. The fact that we choose one to be right is as the viewer, we've seen one, so we want to see it continue. But it's going to continue in the way that they give it to us.
Yeah.
So we're going to see a storyline continue, and we're going to call that our sacred timeline. Why should we listen to He Who Remains, who's been around for millions of years and has manipulated in the worst way? He's a true villain. Like, Kang is a true villain. He has manipulated everything. He came from the 2300s, went back to Egyptian times, and manipulated humanity to fit his timeline. And he told us, this is a sacred timeline. This is how it's supposed to be. Listen to this, blah, blah. This is how, we can't allow this. We can't allow that. And we're all listening to it as He Who Remains like, oh, yeah, like this is a sacred timeline. That's the goddamn villain talking to you.
Yeah.
The villain is telling you that this is the sacred timeline. That's not the sacred timeline. It's a prism.
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire is supposed to still be Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield is still supposed to be Spider-Man. All these things are supposed to exist. And in their own multiverse, they do exist. And they are, if you lived there, wouldn't you call it your sacred timeline?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about like that. I'm just talking about how well is the MCU going to be able to actually portray it in a movie, whereas it's not the whole time you're sitting there trying to explain to them like this is that because there's going to be parts that happen where there's no explaining.
No, that's a great point.
Yeah,
Here's how
I'm excited and worried at the same time.
So I've been talking to Kevo, but the thing is, even through all my discussions with Kevo, I can't tell you how it's going to come out, but I can tell you this. I read The Infinity Gauntlet a long time ago, and it's brilliant.
like 30 years ago.
Galaxy far, far away, long ago.
I read it in the late 90s. It was from the 80s.
Yeah.
I read it in the 90s. The Infinity Gauntlet was brilliant, but they did a much better job of it.
Yeah,
Because, like,
yeah.
The whole point of
David-
killing everybody was just so he could impress Lady Death.
Like the parts I didn't like about it are parts that they couldn't help. They couldn't make Wolverine because they didn't own Wolverine. They couldn't make Wolverine jump at him and make him into like flexible, blah, blah. So they did something similar with Drax.
Yeah.
Like, they had to change Infinity Gauntlet because they didn't own certain properties. It was supposed to be Silver Surfer that crashed into the Doctor Strange's house.
Yeah, I've looked all that up because I was doing all the research on it. when
Yeah,
this came
it
out.
wasn't supposed to be Hulk. Like, they had to change things because they didn't own properties. So they changed what they had to change. But think about it real quick. If in the MCU, Thanos was doing all of this, not because resources were draining up, which is a very real issue that we feel because we are consuming more than we make on this earth. Like, that's something that we feel. Think about if he fell in love with Lady Death, the supernatural entity that represents death, and he loved her so much that he wanted to kill half the universe just to impress her so that he could go out on a date with her.
Even though she was in love with Deadpool.
Not at that time.
Not at that time, but
Not at that time.
that
but
does
you are
become a
right.
storyline.
That is the furthest.
Yeah, she becomes
storyline.
like obsessed with Deadpool, and it pisses Thanos off.
She loves death, and she looks at Deadpool and is like, "You do it the right way, baby." And falls in love with Deadpool. But that's after. That's an
'cause
afterthought.
the Deadpool that we know didn't come around until like what, the late 90s, early 2000s.
91.
Oh yeah, I guess early
But
90s.
Infinity Gauntlet was from the 80s.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. No, I know. I'm just saying it just
It's
added
gonna be-
entertainment.
New Mutants 98.
It's gonna be a fun ride.
Go read it.
With like where technology and everything is, because look at how the Mandalorian was filmed, in that green screen room, be able to generate whatever they want. So they literally, and it's all Disney.
Did you know they used the Unity engine?
Yeah.
Yeah, they used
So literally, Disney, when it comes to these films, they're going to be able to create whatever they want. And so that's why I said I'm excited and worried at the same time, because now we're playing with, the time-space continuum, multiple realities, time travel, all that shit. We've seen plenty of movies where they did it wrong. So now it's like, that's why I'm like.
But name a big movie where Kevin Feige did it wrong since X-Men.
But still.
I was just about to be like,
But still. You get what I'm saying?
He learned his
that's why I'm
mistakes.
like, that's why I'm excited for it.
but he's never done something like this before.
He did. All right, so when it came out, it was perceived that he did Age of Ultron wrong. I half agreed. When I watched Age of Ultron, I was like, all right, that's a good movie.
I need to go back and watch it. I need to go back and watch it.
But, and I pointed out all these things.
Should watch Thor: The Dark World after all of the things you've learned.
Ultron's eyes should have been this way.
Mm-hmm.
I named little things like that. And then I went back and watched, and I'm like, God damn, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
And I'll even say the worst movie. I'm not going to say it from my personal experience because I have to think this through before I actually say what's the worst movie. But widespread belief, the worst movie from the MCU's 26, however many movies it is Thor: The Dark World.
Mm-hmm.
That's the lowest rated movie.
You need to rewatch it now that everything has come out.
Is that the first or second Thor?
Second Thor.
It's the second one? Okay.
Yeah. In hindsight, God damn, it's a pretty fucking good movie. It's not bad at all. Is it the best movie? No.
Yes.
No. If you look at them in hindsight, you can probably look at Iron Man 2 or 3. You can look at, Iron
Man 3 was great as an exploration into Tony Stark's change.
Yep. I agree. I was about to say,
as a
I was
drama.
going to say my favorite MCU movie is Ragnarok.
Oh yeah, it's pretty sick.
I love it. It's not my favorite.
It's my favorite.
I love it.
Fucking loved it.
I love it.
When he's talking to the skeleton at the very beginning of the movie, solid.
The skeleton. Did you just call it a skeleton, Jake?
No, when he's when he's chained up in the cell block and there's a skeleton.
His name is Searcher.
Okay, I don't remember. Okay, bro. Obviously, you watched this movie recently.
He was talking to a skeleton in a cave.
Yeah, when he's doing the monologue.
He was talking to a dead skeleton.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought you
Not
meant
the
like-
evil demon. No, not the devil, dude. No, literally the
my
skeleton
bad.
in the cage. Yeah,
My bad.
I was sitting here
That's
like,
my bad.
When did he call him? I was like, what? I was like, so confused because I didn't know. Hey, I'll be really.
I
didn't know the
Searcher.
I didn't know that name. So I'm sitting there like, when the fuck does he call him that? I'm
Searcher has a skeletal.
I thought the same thing. So you're all good.
I meant the actual skeleton that he's
my
chilling
bad.
with.
I was about to
He
be
does
like,
talk to a
I was about to be like,
skeleton.
he's more than just a fucking skeleton, dude.
And then the comedy when he falls down the chain and he's spinning around, but when he's going back, he's like, oh, hold on.
Nope.
He's like, hold on.
100%. Nope.
Ragnarok
Second.
felt like the least forced comedy in a Thor movie.
Yeah, it felt like the least forced comedy, almost like all the movies. It was like
They
everything kind of
forced
just
comedy throughout the entire movie, and it landed, so it worked.
like, yeah.
Which didn't happen in Venom. But
You know, I know the guy that got his head bit off in the gas station. Remember when they're at the store and there's the Asian lady and they're like, bad guy, right? He goes, yeah, I know him. I met him on the commercial when I was doing a baby bottle pop commercial. So I actually know his name's Sam Medina, and he does stunt work and all that.
Funky cool.
So he got to get his head bit off by Venom. I'm like, that's fucking sick.
yeah,
Pretty up. Just you throw that out
I'm
there.
gonna get my head bit off.
I'm just,
Well, on that note,
ooh, daddy.
yeah, I think we've talked enough about this, and it's really late. Basically, I'm kicking you guys out.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
No, I just
Just
like
here
I said,
making
I was-
content for you, but
yeah.
whatever.
No, I was gonna.
Y'all talk too
What are you
much.
doing?
We're done.
We are done.
He's like,
take
we're
your
I haven't
headphones
heard
off.
shit correctly through these microphones the entire time. all right?
Talk
Or
shit
speak-
about mine.
headphones.
Yeah, it's the headphone. I think it's a connector. Anyway, I was just saying, you guys got to go.
wrapping it.
Yeah. Wait, that sounded bad. Not like you guys have to go.
No, we got it.
Yeah, no.
Like I'm
He
saying,
literally
like
just
you
said he's
have
gonna knock
places.
us
You
out.
have
He's kicking us out.
Whatever.
He's kicking us out.
It's
You
cool.
said
It's
you had to
cool.
be somewhere.
No,
You said
it's
you had
good.
to leave.
Yep.
Anyway,
Just wrap it
you guys
up.
want to plug your stuff?
Just end it already, bro.
I mean,
I have a new Instagram.
Yeah.
The marvelous
Marvelous Josh. Because my last
underscore
one just stopped
marvelous.
working.
underscore Josh.
The underscore marvelous underscore Josh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm Bryton underscore
Yeah,
T
every-
underscore Abrams. Why are you saying it like that? Fuck you.
No. I was
Yeah,
saying like
I'm stuck on the
Marvelous, not because I'm pompous.
marvelous.
It's because he's pompous.
the
love
marvelous
Marvel.
Josh.
and Jake.
Follow me.
I just put your stuff in the
Jake
thing.
Viking,
Jake.
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
you don't know
follow
who Jake
him.
is,
I'm a
Yeah.
go to YouTube.
I mean, if you don't already,
well,
all Kyle's 3 fans, you know,
yeah.
me included. So 2, all Kyle's 2 fans.
Anyway,
That's so mean.
Are you gonna be hiring in the future? I think you are.
thank you guys for, I guess, listening to the first 2-parter that we've ever done on the show.
And the first 4-person you've ever done on the
That
show.
is, yeah. Thanks for hanging in. Thanks for. I hope
First
that the
5-person
talking
guest.
over each other wasn't so bad like throughout it. I hope you're able to hear us. I'm not really sure yet. We'll find out. But follow Small Stuff Podcast on Instagram if you're not already doing that. Go follow us on TikTok, same name, Small Stuff Podcast. We're on YouTube now. If you don't know, videos are coming out the Saturday after the audio drops. Exclusive clips on YouTube from the podcasts, and there'll also be reels and crap on Instagram and TikTok. Anyway, bye.
Stumpy's Hatchet House. Greenville, baby.
I'll clip that.